So this video is about the grant writing assignment associated with this course. So in our Canvas course, if you would, and I know this is early in the semester, but let's go ahead and I have this embedded in week 6. And so let's go to week 6 and take a look at some of the information here. Uh, Grant writing is an extremely important component of research, and it's something that I think is where research can be applied and really be beneficial for a lot of various reasons. So this is an exercise, it's a writing exercise, but it's also one that I think can be very practical for you. So let's go ahead and open this particular module. And in there, in this module, you'll see our associated essential questions in relation to grant writing, and also some of the different things that are part of the materials that I would like for you to engage with to become more familiar with grant writing. Now, here's the thing about this particular assignment is you have a lot of control over the end product. As far as grants, there are numerous types of grants. There are local grants. Sometimes the school districts have it's a local grant opportunity or several different grant opportunities that you can pursue. State level grants as well, government funded grants, national grants. So and I do think one of the reasons I wanted to build this as part of the curriculum for this course is that there's a lot of unclaimed monies that are available for educational possibilities. And some of it is because people don't know how to write grants. So familiarize yourself with the essential questions as you will with every curricular module associated with this particular course. Go down and look specifically at some of the materials that you will be utilizing. And you can also do some external research in regards to, you'll have to do some external research as far as trying to find what grant you want to write to. But this quick article really is kind of introductory to grant writing. It's relatively generic, but it gives you some information specifically. Also, if you go to our textbook in chapter 9, that's about reporting research findings, which this essentially is a writing exercise where you're going to report research findings. So it gives you some techniques about how to write to a specific audience, etc. And I'm going to go back out to our main page in Canvas, but you'll see that it's also linked here to the grant writing assignment. And this is where I really want us to spend some time in the next few moments getting more familiar with the assignment stipulations that, again, should turn into or manifest into something a bit more applicable for you. So let's go back out to our homepage. And again, this is in week 6, although I want you to start with this early so that you can, and there are several opportunities for you to submit drafts along the way. But let's look at the grant writing stipulations. And in this, you'll see some basic stipulations for all grants. Now, based on the grant that you choose to write to, they will have their own stipulations. So I do think a lot of them will be very similar to the ones that I'm asking you to follow here in this particular assignment. But there may be a few things that you'll need to change or tweak or spend a little more time developing. So step 1 is to think about to where you might want to write and gain a grant. So again, if there are some that are specific to your school district, and you've been thinking in terms of, well, I really would like funding for these particular things, then I would absolutely choose to write to a local grant. And those are a little bit easier to acquire than bigger monies that are available. A lot of times you'll see technology grants, but you need to be very specific with your data about what the data supports in regards to the need for the technology as well as the application of, so the action plan thereafter. So let's look at these stipulations, then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the logistical variables. So first, choose your topic. Now, uh, also part of this course is you're developing a research uh, publication. Now, these can be uh, very much tethered together. In other words, the research that you're doing for that particular assignment can be the same research that you're going to utilize for this grant writing assignment. Now, they can be something different depending on what the grant stipulations are, but don't think that they're not something that can be certainly lapped over into these two assignments. So choose your research topic, choose your grant topic that you want to write to. And then your proposal, develop an abstract, 250 words or less. Be concise about that. Be concise about what the problem is and the methodology by which you've used in order to gain the data that you're now going to present as evidence, the background and significance of why this is important, your research objectives. So these are the things that, again, are very much related to the publication assignment as well as what are your clear research objectives? What type of research was this? So the research design, which is the next bullet about the methodology. What type of research design did you implement? The budget and justification. This is going to be a speculated budget. So this is going to be basically justification of why you think this grant is important and how the monies will be utilized and spent accordingly. Then the timeline. This is something that very much might be dictated by the specific grant to which you're writing. So be mindful of that. Is that this may be a 3-year grant or it may be a 2-year grant, and monies may be dispersed based on uh, evidence that you show. Those are more of the larger grants that you may go after, for instance, state level or national level grants. But I don't want you to limit yourself. If there's something that you've been looking at, or there's something that as you do your research and you find something that's very interesting and it just looks like money that's sitting there, go after it. But again, know that sometimes, and this is why a lot of times faith-based institutes like Oklahoma Baptist University or Dallas Baptist University or any other faith-based institute that is very strict with its mission does not promote grant writing is because there are sometimes strings attached, and sometimes those strings that are attached are maybe not congruent with the mission statement of the university or what it or and so think in terms of those elements as well. So as you do your research and find the grant to which you're writing, but and be mindful of the timeline that it may suggest. Now, it may be very open, and you may be able to determine that timeline, and of course, that's a component here. And then, of course, the impact. If it's a organization or a foundation that has a grant and it's quite a bit of money, they want to know what kind of impact is this going to have. And so that's the meat of this writing assignment. That again is very congruent with the publication assignment. That's also a component of this course. So the formatting stipulations, always use APA format in regards to research writing at the graduate level in education. Page limit here should be 5 to 7 pages. I don't think that, and again, that could be something that is stipulated by the grant itself. But for this particular assignment, because the assignment that you're going to submit for me isn't going to be the final submission that you would submit to the grant. So we'll kind of modify, and I'll give you some feedback, and we want to make sure it's very precise and concise and refined. But you may have to tweak a few things here or there if you actually are going to submit it and try to gain access to that grant. And then, of course, there's an associated rubric to this assignment, so you can go through the rubric and see exactly how I'm going to score the details of this assignment. But again, I want this assignment to be very pragmatic for you. This is something particular as you move into higher education. There are some things, scholarship and grant writing are two very important aspects that oftentimes are utilized at the higher ed level, but it benefits not just your writing capacity. And of course, this is for me and for you in this particular course, it's more of a writing exercise, but it also benefits the people that will be utilizing the monies from this grant. So think of it as a very uh, pragmatic, useful assignment, and write it in that way. But again, step one, let's figure out to where you want to write, what grant, foundation, etc. do you want to try to gain access to, and then read specifically the components of that. Make sure if there are variables or components that are required by the grant that we're going to be able to fulfill and sustain those. And then I think it doesn't have to be associated with your research uh, submission that you're going to submit a little bit later in the course. But I think it would behoove you to kind of look and see if those two things align so you're not having to do a lot of extra work. Maybe you can utilize that research in several different capacities. But let's go after this particular assignment with a level of clear-mindedness and energy so to gain access to monies that otherwise are left really available that no one goes after. So I look at it as a very practical assignment. And if you have any questions, certainly you can reach out and I will hopefully clarify that.